Hi, welcome back to West Coast Geeks. I'm your host, Joaquin. How we doing, people? So today's video is a quick video on the maps that come with the Greyhawk Adventure Box Set. So what's cool about all these maps is you don't have to buy the box set. You can just get these as PDFs. And you shouldn't have to pay for anything. I mean, there's plenty of free PDFs of all these maps. But the reason I wanted to show you these maps before I really get into the other two books that I'm going to be doing videos on, the Gem of Flanness and the Free City of Greyhawk, the surrounding areas, and Greyhawk's folks, feuds, and faction, is that you need to have a map. And this is your chance to make your own great city, especially if you're doing a homebrew campaign. So you can look at these locations and be inspired by what your city should be, because these cities broken up into three sections, whether you have it broken up a 2, 4, whatever, you're going to have the high class, the middle class, and then the lower class. You could have unique, have my little paintbrush here. So right here's like their little stadium and fighting pit. There is right here a little place where you can have your halflings, dignitaries, or gnomes, or whoever. But, at one point, maybe the city grew from here, and these homes were always there. Maybe this community was bigger, and through trade and negotiation, they bought out this land, or these tribes just moved off once more humans were coming in. But this little area right here decided to stay, or they created that little area where you could have more trees, and maybe there's a druid who lives there. It's endless of possibilities what you could do. There's a huge castle here, and what that is, why that's significant in your city, you're going to have to develop. But as you can see, all these buildings, the majority of these buildings in this map, especially here in the midsection, these are homes, right? Because all these people who live here or work here have to have a place to eat and sleep. Most major cities like this will be close to a river. So when you're designing your own city, keep that in mind. They don't have to be this close, but they should be close to water sources. There will also be several different gates that they will be entering from. So if you have the Dungeon Master's Guide, they're going to give a smaller version of this map, but I just have always loved this map ever since I got this box set. There's so many cool and interesting ideas, and we're going to be going over those once we get to those last two books. But I thought I would just give pay a little tribute to these maps that were created for this fantasy game that we all love and enjoy. If we have the politics aside of Wizards of the Coast and all their screw ups they've been doing lately and really turning the fan base against each other. Once you buy this game is yours. And whatever changes they do, whatever they make, it doesn't matter. Because once you have a certain amount of books, a certain amount of adventures, the world is yours, and it always will be yours. If you're in this generation where you're just buying everything digital and you do not own a physical copy, I would think about what I just said there, because at any time they can take away all your digital copies. It would create a big uproar and it would suck, but they can. So, get off my little soapbox. We're talking about D&D 2nd edition and what's cool about making city maps. Now, here's the thing. I would just pick one off online and tweak it a little bit, unless you really enjoy making these types of maps, which I don't. I mean, I love the game and I love developing scenarios and locations, but to do this type of elaborate map, no, I'm good, dog. So this is the main map that you're going to get into Dungeon Master's Guide in 2024. You're also going to get the continent of Flanness, which is, basically the foundation of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. All right, so what's the other map you get? Let me pause the video so I can put that up. Don't go nowhere. Okay, we're back. Thank you. So, these maps are pretty heavy because the magnets that I'm using up on top, because I don't want to use the clip magnets because I don't want to put an indent in the paper. But these are the magnets I'm using. It took 3 of these. And if I would have put 2 of these, which I just tried to lay this map over the other, it was not going to take it. Maybe if I put a few more of these magnets up, then it would help. But that banging sound, that was a group of magnets right there. So this is the second map they gave with you. And right here, you can see all the numbered locations. So everywhere else are additional businesses and homes and inns. And so the importance of these city gates lets you know where the privilege comes in and how well these areas are defended. It shows that there's elevation on the cliffs. What I do with my pointer? Right here's a little river that gives the city its fresh water, and that cuts on through. And as you can see, there are little small ravines right here. Also, you can see how massive this little coliseum is compared to the rest of these buildings on this map. What they also show you is how to design a city, right? So you've got to have a flow of merchandise and products, and you're going to have that through a main road through the city. So the main road is going to cut through every part of the city, and then it's going to branch off in the appropriate areas. And even these main checkpoints over here, which are these gates, are going to have different names, which are going to, like this is the Druid's Gate, and over here is the Marsh Gate. I know you can't see it. And you got the Cargo Gate because there's the river. So each of those names should have a minor significant story to tell. So if you tell them you're walking through the Duke's Gate, they'll be like, why is it the Duke's Gate? You should just have a little index card that has a few sentences that says why it does. Now this is Highgarden. Highgarden. I always want to. I know it's not Highgarden, but Game of Thrones. There's a wharf gate up here, but there's a big difference between the cargo gate here and the wharf gate over here. You know that they guard this gate. While this gate is watched, this is going into the high quarter, and so not just anybody's going to be able to walk through that gate. You got the Grand Citadel. Down here, you got the old part of the city, and then it just expanded. So think about that when you're making your city. There's usually a history behind it, and if you're having some troubles thinking about the history of your city that you want to create, just Google your city. Your city is usually named after a person or was built because of precious resources that were about. That's why all the people gathered there. And then it expanded, and it was able to maintain its wealth and continue to have these jobs for whatever economics that are going through that are a constant source of income for everybody. Because, everybody's just not staying there because they're like, it's Greyhawk, it's cool, There's got to be a reason why all these people are choosing to stay here. It could be the surrounding areas also could be surrounded with humanoids or wastelands or whatever, and this is the place where they feel safe. So, excuse me, I lost my train of thought. So the reason why I wanted to show these maps and of the city and the surrounding areas is because when your player characters go into a city, it should feel like a big thing. Like for those of you who lived in the suburbs or wherever, and you didn't live in the city, when you first went to the city as a kid, were you impressed a little? I was, to seeing all these buildings and all these people that I normally don't see because I lived in a suburb, so that you only see a small group of people as compared to a city where it's just constantly motion and people going places and so many places to eat and buy things. And so I always had a special thing when I went to the city, but that's just me. All right, so back to fantasy role playing. So you built your city, but here's the important thing we have to get to is the surrounding area that the city holds domain over, but does not really control in the sense of they can't keep humanoids out or raiders to a certain degree. Like, probably within 5 to 10 miles, give or take, depending on how big your city and the standing army that's in the city. They're not going to devote that much to defending outside more than 5 miles. They just don't want anything getting too close to the city. So let's move to the next map. So just hold on a second. Okay, so here we go with the plain of Greyhawk. You got the gnarly forest, which have really expanded even further. You've got the Mist March, which goes farther this way. You got the Carn Hills. There's a lot of resources that flow through that make Greyhawk rich. There's a reason why they call it the Gem of the Flanness. Up north, because of the Nire Dive Lake, there are other countries that trade and push their boats through the river. These locations are famous locations. You got Diamond Lake, you got Blackstone, you got the Steaming Springs, you got the Elmshire over here. You really can't see, but there's Tensor's Castle. Over here, it lets you know how 1 inch equals 8 miles. You got the Deep River, you got the Marsh, you got the Yard Pick Patches. So, man, I forget what this is called. It's bad. Just for kicks, help me out. What's that called? The Legend or something. But it gives you all the markers on your map. So right here is Greyhawk, okay? So you have all these you have this river flowing through, and it flows down. There's Diamond Lake, and the water slowly trickles, but then as soon as it gets out of the mountains, it gets a little bit wider. And there's another location that brings down water. The water comes down, and for some reason right here, a natural fork formed, and it went into this Mist March. There's another river that formed and went into the Mist March. There's another river up above here that trickles down into there. And so these are the hills, so when it rains, the water flows and has made these rivers over time. Other rivers flowing through. These are major rivers that flows down, and that's where all the trade comes through. Most of the trade through Greyhawk is through the rivers, and while some of it is transported, because as you can see right here, the black is a road, the dots are a trail. There's Lord Blackfair's Manor. There's Two Ford right there, that's a city. Actually, that's a village. I'm looking up, because there's a city, and that Eddie Yellow dot is a town, which is right up here, Blackstone. And then empty cairns are these little star symbols, so you can have fun making an adventure of all this. I have run just a mini campaign where my characters were from Greyhawk, and all they did was just adventure and explore this area. And they didn't even end up in the Temple of Evil because they already had played that. And we spent, I don't know, 3-4 months just exploring different regions of this area on rumors that they heard, and artifact was at the end of the adventure, and that ended up being in the Miss March. And so, there's so much you could do with just a simple map like this. You know, go online, pick a map, and then just go with it and build something out. So the last map I want to show you, be right back. So this last map is something that most DMs, including myself, never really thought of until I got this. And even to this day, I don't give that much thought if they go into the city. This is the sewer system that is beneath Greyhawk and beneath all major cities. And while, you have the Thieves Guild are usually located underneath in these secret type locations. So these green marks right here are the burial sites. These are water pipes. This is the cistern. So this is all the sewage and stuff goes through. And they got the water pipes, and they built it out to connect to lower waters. We're going to be going into the books where they talk about an area located where they dump their trash. And these other black lines with a little circle, these are all secret door locations and tunnels. So the circle is secret door, and the black lines are all tunnels. And as you can see, there's not one tunnel of these black lines that connect to all of these. But that's not to say that Thieves Guide haven't even built something even secreter, haven't built their own secret tunnels that connect certain areas in here, because I find it hard to believe that they have just this little area right here. So you could go with this. These are the old crypts. So when you die, they put you in the crypts. And this is where you could have all kinds of adventure of evil cults. As you can see right here, this is where the Assassin's Guild is. They show you that a locksmith store is a secret location that has access to these secret tunnels underneath. You have more buildings, and you have rooms, not buildings, but you have rooms that are dug out. These are the black squares under here. And these red are public openings to the sewer. So these are planted all over the place. So anybody can jump down to the sewer and enter in at your own peril. And these are the new crypts, which means these are the money crypts. So if you're going to be breaking into crypts, you're probably going to want to go up there. But just be forewarned that those are most likely going to be magically trapped and have their own sets of guard down there, whether living or dead. A lot of animated type armor, maybe even a gnome. The noble families of Greyhawk are pretty touchy about their ancestors being robbed by your party, which I don't know what you're going to do now that you've seen this map. I know that because my party went into the sewers and went looking for things and spent resources finding out where the nobles kept their ancestors buried. So we had adventures on that. Other plots in here are going to be secret, evil organizations are going to be down here for the way for the prying eyes. You could also have adventures, because there are workers who work down in these sewers down here. So the city can hire some adventurers to go deal with these claims that maybe, large alligators or maybe bullywugs have infiltrated the sewer systems and are exploring the area and haven't left yet. And so the party has to go deal with them. Maybe some troglodytes dug up into the sewer systems, and now they pop in every now and then and kill people and take people off to sacrifices. So there's so many ideas, different ideas you can do. All right, I'm looking at the time, and I did want to make this a short video, but for me, this is like average short. I try to keep between 12 and 10 to 12 minutes, the average length video. The other ones are, I'm just telling you right now, these are going to be long. There's a lot of cool information. And even with me skimming over these are easily going to be 35 to 40-minute videos. That's one. And this is going to be the second one. And even though I have not used the Greyhawk setting in a long time, going back and reading through this, I have so many fond memories. So if you get a chance to get a PDF of this book, I would highly suggest that you obtain it. You can also get free PDFs if you look hard enough. You don't. You can also go on eBay and buy the box, but that's only if you're willing to spend anywhere between 75 and 100. You might get lucky and get a box that's just really beat up, but all the maps are in pretty good shape, and more importantly, the books are too, and you can spend anywhere between 50 and 75. It's a good investment if you want to get that, especially if you really want to get into Greyhawk. Most channels that really focus in on the Greyhawk campaign, they all swear by this for this box set for a reason, especially if you're going to play within the city. So with that, people, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment below. Would love to hear from you. Have you played a Greyhawk before? Does your DM or you as a DM, do you own this box set? And what's your favorite adventure memory being in the city? And with that, people, I'll catch you later. Take care.